Hello, this is Stockfiler. Happy Sunday. This is for entertainment and educational purposes only. I wanted to go over how we expected to right here to come down into the zone, but it's one of those weird things where the strength test it just didn't break the selling climax, so we're still looking for it to come down here before catching. Now, in a distribution type of setup, a lot of people probably would be looking down here because they'd be looking at this side of the equation, which is interesting because that's what I would normally be looking at, which is it's a possibility, right? Like we could the range could actually be larger. Let's see. Let's go back. This could be a UTAD, and if it should come down too far here, like into this area, it's probably going to keep coming down. So if my J pattern thing is correct and we're going to keep ascending, we shouldn't go too much more than what this difference is. Now, my algorithm is saying that we're going to go to 850, which would be looking at it from a somewhat distribution setup, then followed down to the sevens, if that's the way, if it is a distribution, right? If this is distributive tops and it's going to go down. Now, it's my opinion still that this is just almost a facade, giving the feeling that it is going to come down, because people are kind of like retail's become very accustomed to this constant down movement from AMC. But you know, the $9 is really 90 cents if we just went back in time 6 months. So if AMC's at 90 cents, do we really believe it's going to push downwards? I had a fine gentleman say that AMC was going to go bankrupt, which is fine. I appreciate other people's opinions. Yeah, I don't know why I feel the need to comment. Any company could go bankrupt. I guess it's just a matter of what you believe is going on with the company. I mean, having debt is not a killer for a company, right? They can always work themselves out of debt. So, and most companies carry debt just for operational purposes anyway. Maybe not as much as AMC does right now, but you know, they're still working out of everything. So, in this, well, we can use, before I go into that, if we look at this area over here, and this being the top part here, this part here would be a combination of these two, where this part came down slightly lower, if you can see. So that's what I'm kind of expecting. It should have some type of spring effect at this point. If it breaks down to here, I would think that we would then see a retrace up, where it would test this line again, move up to an LPS, where it would test the line again, move up, test another LPS before breaking up and having the sign of strength, And that's where it'll test up here. And then we'll be off to the races again. Can't have too many ads. Otherwise, yeah. Let's give another example of what could happen based off of Joe Schmo's comment. So Joe Schmo is, yeah, I'm thinking there's much more of a downside than we'll. I'll change this to a different color after I draw it. Oh, well, I'll just do it right now and change it on this. How about red? Because that always makes me feel negative. Anyway, so Monday, if we drop down to here or somewhere in about, and we start doing this kind of number, looks like this, it will drop off rapidly, breaking this, and back up and testing it, and then continuing downwards. Right? So, the idea in my mind is the composite operator giving shorts that this idea is going to happen while doing this idea. Now, how does that make sense? Well, they trick shorts in the same way they trick retail. You know, shorts have no. They get tricked the same amount, right? I don't know where I can never find anything I want. So the primary absorption of AMC is well, I'll actually drop it down some. So at this point, shorts are trapped, right? If you look at like most of the train, I mean, it did come up here for a second, but so at any point in this, if shorts dropped on it or have added their shorts, they're trapped here, just like longs were trapped at what it used to be $65 is now like $300 and some dollars. Longs were trapped. So so if the shorts are trapped here, then why come back down into the zone? Unless it really is going to be to distribute what they picked up down here. But you would have to assume that they already have done that. So that all this volume over here has been exhausted. In a comment I made looking at this, from a white coffee point of view, you ask yourself, is there enough gas in the tank? Do they have enough shares to make the jury, right? And they're in no hurry to get there because they've, you know, they've been playing the long game. And this was my overall look at it. And this is just a minor part of the long game, right? Look at this whole area here. Apologize about the background noises. My wife is very, she's not very considerate of other people's ears or anything, so I apologize. And so maybe we're looking at about the same distance, right? Maybe slightly lower that this one came to. So I would reckon to say that we're going to come up here now. What I'm going to do is go to stockcharts.com. I'm going to type in choose point figure, and then I'm going to type in AMC. I always turn off hide months color scheme. Like to see the reds for the O's. And as we see, we have come back down. If we come back down just a little bit more, we're going to be back down in this range. And then the X's can take over, coming back up. And at $11, which is what we would see on the breakout, we would have a new count. The highest part of the count would be this row of X's here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You times that by 3, start at the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 18, 19, 20, 21. So 1750 is what just this one could possibly get us to, and the shortest part being, when it being down, being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh no, it would be 4. So 4 times 3 is 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So between 13 and 17, whatever. That's what the count would be giving us on the point figure. And then in this area, once we break into this will start to make a count. So I figure like we'll come up, come back down, kind of match in this area, and then the gas can really be compiled here. So go back to tray view if I can find it. So it kind of goes kind of like what I'm seeing. It's about the same. I don't think it'll come up and make this gap fill yet. And this could be a little bit longer. That's the strange thing about a B phase, is that it can take longer. But do expect Monday for it to keep coming down, just like I thought it was going to before. And yeah, I think this is a identifiable range. I don't think it's a top. It doesn't have the normal characteristics of a top. Well, you would see the cat ears pattern that Booksy would always draw, has the part when it comes up, and then it has this immediate taking back of the last move, which we don't see here, which is usually the Booksy pull. Then it comes up and makes the ear, and then it comes down and it makes a quasi range where it's really small, and then either ends with the last part of a distribution, which looks like this, right? Rounds off and then goes down, small cat ear, or like in our case, it would look like a small cat ear and then just drop, or it does a U-tad where it comes up and then drops down, right? That's how distribution usually works. And then it drops down into a range. But here, I don't see that type of pattern. A distributive pattern. I don't see distributive volume. You know, they're like this being the high point here would normally be the high point. Like the volume would be the most right here, because I mean that's where you're going to really, if you're controlling it, you're going to get it at the top, right? You're not going to get it in the middle. So with that said, it still can come back down to this range and still be a different type of larger pattern, and that when we come down to this range, it doesn't keep really going down. It just has maybe some type of low here, and then this would be the selling climax, and this would be, I don't know how you would argue that this would, it doesn't really have a strength test, so now I couldn't argue that too well. Unless this just became the new buying climax and then came down. I don't know. I just don't agree with the red. So in my analysis, I'm just going to get rid of it. So Mr. Doolittle can leave another comment that AMC is going to burn to the ground. And you guys can all give your comments back to anybody that posts like that, what you think of their theory that AMC is going to go bankrupt. I also had a comment that, if I thought it was going to go back up to the 40s, and I think it's got plenty of gas. I don't know why it would stop there. I haven't looked at the Bollinger Band for a while. That's where this thing was drawn, and I usually don't use indicators. For those who've followed me for any amount of time, no, but is there a Bollinger Band on there? Do I have to actually? Oh, okay. Do I have to look it up? Okay, so on this immediate, Bollinger Bands have really started to tighten up, but let's look at it from a year. So where there was this fear that it was going to drop off the planet, the Bollinger Bands have tightened up. Now this expansion here does indicate distribution, but we know it's coming down, right? We know that it's going to drop. The question is, how far will it come down and stay in this range, or will it be in this blue range? I'm of the mind it'll be in the blue range, and then we'll see these bands really tighten up, and then it would go, right? But it can really go either direction. So on that, I don't really have too much more to offer today, so I just wanted to give you a heads up before Monday. Expecting it to go down, and since we never did make the lower low, and maybe it's not such a direct move out, but it could be. So kind of be on guard. I'm trying to think if I answered all the questions. There was a side note that someone was asking me what my opinion is on getting options versus shares, and that's really kind of your own, go with your own mind there, but it's still relatively cheap to go 2 years out and buy $15 strikes compared to holding shares. So what's I don't know what the prices are, but when you look at the that option, like we're coming down to wherever this lands, right? Wherever this part lands is going to be probably our last down move, then another good entry point, right? Any of this is a good entry point to me, because you're looking at it, it's not that much in it. I mean, if you think if it's going to drop off the planet, right, which I guess it could, then I guess it wouldn't be a good entry point either way. But for me, it's still, really good entry point. And, that's my opinion. Don't bet your life savings on something you don't understand yourself. That was, what was funny was the person said that my analysis didn't make any sense. And I'm like, well, get the entertainment from it then, man. get the joke of it. And then he's like, yeah, it's really entertaining to watch people invest in something that's going to go bankrupt. And I was like, wow, that's a pretty extreme statement. I'd like to see if the composite operator's news feeds are being operated or being pitched towards you. That on that, let's do a little. Let's just do a little truth telling here. Okay, a composite operator controls the stock. A institution with the most money. BlackRock is the largest institution what am I doing wrong there? I can't read this morning. It's the largest institution in the stock market. They own about 50% of AMC's shares. This is because they also own Vanguard. They also own NBC. You get Kramer's information. They own most of the market websites. They have armies of trolls. It's very likely that one of those trolls was just trolling me. So, not saying that BlackRock is the deposit operator, but they sure do have a lot of shares. And they have a lot of shares through BlackRock directly. They have a lot of shares through Vanguard, which they own. They own a lot of littler institutions that may also be holding AMC shares. They control news media. So when they want something to go up and they want people to help, they'll put some good news out there. Or if they want to sell into retail, they'll put some good news out there to make people think it's going to go up. Taylor Swift tickets are going through the roof at AMC theaters, and you can make it all. And then the stock goes down when you're expecting to go up, because that's how they screw most retail. Retail doesn't understand that that these big money holders control the market, and they control the news. And so if you read something that's online and it's negative, it's quite possible that that's what the composite operator wants you to read. So mine's coming from a purely technical analysis. I don't read any of the outside sources, which has affected me in the past because the ape conversion stuff really threw me off with AMC. It's just not, to this day I don't really quite understand what a dumb move that was, but it is what it is. And yeah, here we are. Now, can it just be one final push-up? Sure, I think that's what they're going to want people to think, right? They'll go up and they'll find their level to sell back to retail, and then they'll come back down. You'll get another one of these when they come back down to. You gotta think about it. It's like they come down, scoop up all the shares, bring it up, start to sell it off, but then you have that whole buying thing take it away. So there's still enough gas in the tank. So they come up here and then they buy a whole bunch of other here, pushing it up. And then over this whole time, sold it back, at least from this level. And then they normally like bring it down to a level where they're going to take off. And then, well, around this area here, you have the whole problem with ape. And then when they were adding more dilution to the thing, the composite operator said, fine, I'll take it down and I'll buy your dump cheaper down here. And that's what we have. So, hope that answered some questions about how the composite operator works. And if you don't agree with my analysis, just click off the video and go watch somebody's They Do. That's my advice. Or come in for entertainment value. Because sometimes I'll say something funny. Like once, twice a year. Anyway, on that, I'll catch you on the flip side. Enjoy your Monday.